What's going on, everybody? It's Oskino the Don here. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and drop some comments in the comment section below based on what you would like to see more of, what I can improve on. And yeah, let's get right into it. I'm going to talk about human versus artificial intelligence. And right off the bat, I mean, just even giving my own opinion based on the matter, artificial intelligence can be good and it can be bad, right? So everybody out there that says, "Oh man, artificial intelligence is becoming a problem." Yes, of course it is. But, there's even these thoughts that artificial intelligence can think on its own. And maybe it can. Maybe it's been programmed to be able to make decisions on its own without the actual programmer inputting information right at that moment. But it still comes back to human beings, right? um you can use this artificial, quote unquote, artificial intelligence for good or for evil. It all depends on who the programmer is. And that's why I say artificial intelligence is not the real issue. The real issue is humanity. And it's always has been throughout mankind, right? We always seem to be very destructive to ourselves and to everything else on this planet. So, when people ask me the question, oh, can AI be racist? Of course, AI can be racist. It's all about how it's programmed. Like you program robots, the people who program iPhones, things of that nature. It's no different. AI was developed by humans, made by humans, and programmed by humans. So you have to ask yourself, is artificial intelligence the problem? Or is it the humans that are programming certain technologies and artificial intelligence the problem? And I truly know that it's the latter. Because just like robots and these artificial intelligence that we use every single day, it's like a newborn child. You have to program this artificial intelligence, and over time has a certain programming, and that programming plays out in real life scenarios, and affects human beings, whether it be positive or negative. There's some technology out there that is very beneficial to the prolonging of human life. And then there's obviously the opposite side. So it's like anything that's man-made it always gets corrupted. It always has a double-edged sword. Pardon me. So I just want to bring up this article from Stanford University. It goes into pretty much as deep as you can get when it comes to the detail about artificial intelligence and everything that I just pretty much touched on right there. So let me see. Need to share my screen. Will it allow me to share it? Give me 1 second, y'all. Because artificial intelligence actually has been around a lot longer than they like you to know. So I'm going to share my entire screen with y'all and pull up this article. This is from Stanford University, and the title of the article is "What are the most pressing dangers of AI?" So this kind of just focuses on the dangers. So it goes on to talk about how AI systems are improving at an exponential rate and how that can affect people. So they have a thing that's called techno solutionism. Says one of the most pressing dangers of AI is techno solutionism, the view that AI can be seen as a panacea. I believe that's how you pronounce it, when it is merely a tool. As we see more AI advances, the temptation to apply AI decision making to all societal problems increases. Definitely, because a lot of people are lazy and they rather have robots do the work for them. If you're not aware of that who the Anunnaki are, kind of sounds like the Anunnaki and what they did with us, made us the workers to mine the gold and things of that nature. It goes on to say, but technology often creates larger problems in the process of solving smaller ones. For example, systems that streamline and automate the application of social services can quickly become rigid and deny access to migrants or others who fall between the cracks. Indeed, because, as I said, if it's not programmed to be very specific and it just gives a broad general programming, then of course there's always going to be the people who fall in between the cracks. Even when I'm dealing with human beings, they tend to leave out a lot of variables that a lot of regular people have to deal with. Like for instance, when you're going to apply for a job and you have a disability or certain health issues where you need a certain accommodation where you can still do the job, but you might need like a longer lunch break and things of that nature. I myself, I'm a type 1 diabetic, which means I need insulin. My pancreas doesn't produce insulin. Yeah, I do need a longer lunch than a normal person for obvious reasons. Not that, oh, I just want to have a longer lunch than everybody else, but I actually need it. AI doesn't account for little things like that. And that's just one human being, me. I mean, and everybody who is just a type 1 diabetic, it's not all the same. Like everybody's condition doesn't affect them the same. It could be more sensitive or not as sensitive. That's just one variable that I mentioned, right? And then while it says, when given the choice between algorithms and humans, some believe algorithms will always be the less biased choice. Yet in 2018, Amazon found it necessary to discard a proprietary recruiting tool because the historical data it was trained on resulted in a system that was systemically biased against women. Automated decision making can often serve to replicate, exacerbate, and even magnify the same bias we wish it would remedy. Like I said, and this is where, in my personal opinion, where they try to blame AI when AI is just operating based off of how the programmer is. So it may be even more extreme than the actual programmer. You guys hear it all the time. They need to meet certain quotas to hire a certain amount of women, a certain amount of African Americans, certain amount of foreigners, and things of that nature. So let's see what else this article touches on. Says dangers of adopting a statistical perspective on justice. This can be very, very dangerous because there's so many variables within, let's say, a crime or whatever the case may be, where there's certain circumstances that the AI may not be programmed purposely to take certain things into consideration. It says automated decision making may produce skewed results that replicate and amplify existing biases. A potential danger. Then is when the public accepts AI derived conclusions as certainties. This deterministic approach to AI decision making can have dire implications in both criminal and healthcare settings. AI driven approaches like PredPol, software originally developed by the Los Angeles Police Department, I had to say that twice, and the UCLA that purports to help protect 1 in 33 US citizens, predict when, where, and how crime will occur. A 2016 case study of a US city noted that the approach disproportionately projected crimes in areas with higher populations of non-white and low-income residents. I'm going to read that sentence again. A 2016 case study of a U.S. city noted that the approach disproportionately projected crimes in areas with higher populations of non white and low income residents. Exactly how people are policed today. So, like I said, a lot of these AIs are programmed to be more like the programmer, to be more like the experience of the programmer or how the programmer sees the world. And there's not one person that can tell you how the whole world actually is. So, this is very dangerous because if we rely on AI, pretty soon humans, no matter what race you are going to be the minority. And, we're not too far off from that. So we got to be very careful. We can't be lazy when it comes to programming artificial intelligence. it takes time to program it correctly, but a lot of people are lazy and just want results, especially now. We live in a instant gratification type of society where we want results as fast as possible, regardless if they're accurate, regardless if, it's we did our just due. And as long as if it's a certain perspective or agenda, then the programmer is okay with it. But that's the thing when it comes to dealing with people and using artificial intelligence, we can't have agendas or perspectives. It has to be just right. It has to be by the book, no matter color, gender, none of that should matter. It has to be a black and white situation when it comes to did this person break the law or not, and then allow the person to explain the situation, figure out if there's evidence to what they say, and then from there go down to the black and white. All right, well, if a person is forced to either die or defend themselves, and by defending themselves, they unalive somebody. You know what I'm saying? That's where humans will always still have to be involved because you can't tell somebody if they feared for their life or not. That's based on the person. Even though even humans will say, "Oh, well, you weren't really in that type of situation." And that's where the evil comes in. So it's like evil can be implemented into AI, so can good. All right, let's go on to the next topic that they cover. What we got here. Okay, so yeah, we've been dealing with a lot of disinformation and threat to democracy. However, if we're talking about threat to democracy, I think that the politicians, regardless of Republic or Democrat, whatever side you think is for you, I know they're not for us. If these politicians were actually for us and weren't a threat to democracy, there'd be a lot of stuff in our country that would be going right for the people. But we the people, we work, the money we make gets taxed, and we don't even get to say where our taxes go. And they want to just preach to us what they think they want us to hear so that they can keep making millions and millions of dollars in and out of office after they leave office. And nothing ever changes. They want to keep the status quo. They want to keep people right in the places where they are, which is beneath them. Even though if we wake up all together and rise up, I'm not talking on some um on anything violent, just on an intellectual level where we really see the power in our vote and we actually write our own names in the ballot for every position because who could run our lives better than us? We should not be giving people power to run our lives. For those who already follow the laws and don't break the law, what do we really need government for? I'm just saying. So it says that AI systems are being used in the surface service of disinformation on the internet, giving them the potential to become a threat to democracy and a tool for fascism. Here we go with these words. From deepfake videos to online bots manipulating public discourse by feigning consensus and spreading fake news, there's the danger of AI systems undermining social trust. Technology can be co opted by criminals, rogue states, ideological extremists, or simply special interest groups to manipulate people for economic gain or political advantage. Don't forget that it could also be used by politicians, the ones who are pretty much the spokesperson for all of these mega corporations and for the world banks, like the Bilderbergs, the Rothschilds, and those people. Don't forget they involved in it too, my people. I ain't gonna forget about them. I always gonna put the fire to their feet because they're the reason why all these wars and things happen. The central bank, the royal family, the 13 royal families that run the world, but you'll never ever see their face in the light of day unless they choose to. And I highly doubt that because they know what they're doing and they know if we found out who they were, it'd be game over for them. That's why I have confidence though. I see a lot of people waking up now and really challenging what they tell us, which is good. We need to challenge everything that they tell us. Obviously there's certain things that are just common logic, but you know, um, this Democrat Republican thing is, it's really a wash. None of them are for us, and all they do is put on a show when the cameras are rolling. Then they go out and have dinner with each other after the debates are over, time and time again. And it says that goes on to say in this part of the article, disinformation poses serious threats to society as it effectively changes and manipulates evidence to create social feedback loops that undermine any sense of objective truth. The debates about what is real quickly evolve into debates about who gets to decide what is real, resulting in renegotiations of power structures that often serve entrenched interests. So pretty much, there's a lot of truth to this, right? Disinformation and threat to democracy. Yeah, AI can definitely play a part in that. And I've seen a lot of videos out here going around with like deep fake videos, manipulating videos, editing them to make it seem like somebody said something that they actually didn't. So yeah, it's a very interesting time to be living in, to say the least. However, that doesn't mean that the politicians don't do it either. That doesn't mean that who the politicians actually are, the face of, and who they actually represent aren't behind that either. Okay, let's go into the next topic. It talks about discrimination and risk in the medical setting. Now, if you are in the United States or anywhere in the world where you know your history of your own people, like for me, for instance, what they call African American, right? I like to say Negro American. We've always had a certain stigma with with the medical field, and what they did to us with Tuskegee experiments and things of that nature, and really just always kind of targeted us to experiment on us. I mean, that's just the bottom line, to keep it simple and plain. So it goes to say, while personalized medicine is a good potential application of AI, which I agree, like if we could study somebody's genetics with their permission and not send it off to somewhere else so they could do all this extra stuff that you don't know about, but just studying the person's genetics, seeing what they actually need, doing a full blood panel. I'm not talking about a CB, I'm talking a full blood panel, see what type of food you should be eating and things of that nature, because food was always medicine until the powers that be, contaminated the food. Now we got all this GMO bull crap and stuff like that. So, I do believe that, personalized medicine will be the best option. So it says, while personalized medicine is a good potential application of AI, there are dangers. Says current business models for AI-based health applications tend to focus on building a single system. For example, a deterioration predictor that can be sold to many buyers. However, these systems often do not generalize beyond their training data. Even differences in how clinical tests are ordered can throw off predictors, and over time, a system's accuracy will often degrade as practices change. Clinicians and administrators are not well equipped to monitor and manage these issues, and insufficient thought given to human factors of AI integration has led to oscillation between mistrust of the system, which is ignoring it, and over reliance on the system, trusting it even when it's wrong. Central concern of the 2016 AI 100 report. There are concerns troubling in general in the high risk setting that is healthcare, which I work in, and even more so because marginalized populations, those that already face discrimination from the health system from both structural factors like lack of access and scientific factors like guidelines that were developed from trials on other populations, may lose even more. Today and in the near future, AI systems built on machine learning are used to determine post-operative personalized pain management plans for some patients, and in others to predict the likelihood that an individual will develop breast cancer. AI algorithms are playing a role in decision concerning distributing organs, vaccines, and other elements of healthcare. Biases in these approaches can have literal life and death stakes. It says in 2019, the story broke that Optum, a health services algorithm used to determine which patients may benefit from extra medical care, exhibited fundamental racial biases. I'm not surprised. The system designers ensured that race was precluded from consideration, but they also asked the algorithm to consider the future cost of a patient to the healthcare system. While intended to capture a sense of medical severity, this feature in fact served as a proxy for race, controlling medical needs. Controlling for medical needs, care for Black patients averages $1,800 less per year. $1,800 less per year. So new technologies are being developed every day to treat serious medical issues. A new algorithm trained to identify melanomas, which is a deadly skin cancer. It's like the last stage of skin cancer for those that are unaware. So, a new algorithm trained to identify melanomas was shown to be more accurate than doctors in a recent study. But the potential for the algorithm to be biased against Black patients is significant as the algorithm was trained using majority light skinned groups. The stakes are especially high for melanoma diagnosis, where the 5-year survival rate is 17 percentage points less for Black Americans than white. That's a that's a pretty big difference, y'all. It says while technology has the potential to generate quicker diagnosis and thus close the survival gap, a machine learning algorithm is only as good as its data set, aka the programmer, what you put into the AI. An improperly trained algorithm can do more harm than good for patients at risk, missing cancers altogether or generating false positives. As new algorithms saturate the market with promises of medical miracles, losing sight of the biases ingrained in their outcomes to contribute to a loss of human biodiversity, which is, and we need biodiversity not just for humans, but for animals, plants, you name it. And we're starting to lose that a lot. So you're going to see the whole ecosystem start to change drastically. We're going to have more extreme weather, more extreme viruses, and things of that nature, along with the viruses that they manipulate in the labs. Um, So yeah, so it could contribute to a loss of human biodiversity as individuals who are left out of initial data sets are denied adequate care. A little bit tongue twister for me there, yeah. While the exact long-term effects of algorithms in healthcare are unknown, their potential for bias replication means any advancement they produce for the population in aggregate from diagnosis to resource distribution may come at the expense of the most vulnerable. So yeah, AI is a huge problem, y'all. It seriously is. So, damn, I don't think I had my screen up that whole time. It's all good. It is all good. I was reading from an article anyway, so I think you guys will see that that information was valid. But yeah, humanity versus artificial intelligence. It's not looking good simply because there's a lot of people who have control over these artificial intelligence and their programming. It all comes back to the programmer. So if you're a bad human being with some evil type of thoughts that you want to do and implement into the world, what better way to do it than with AI? And if you want to do some good in the world, you can also do AI. There's a lot of technology out here that is very beneficial to humanity. I have an insulin pump myself. Like I said, I'm a type 1 diabetic. I rely on insulin. This insulin pump gives me my blood sugar readings every 5 minutes. So that's a good thing, and I'm able to live pretty much normal life. But, you know, when they first came out with these type of pumps that could connect to Bluetooth, uh there was a message that was sent out saying that it could be hacked. But now they stopped that from being able to happen, at least with the type of pump that I have, right? So like I said, anything that man creates, it seems like there's always a double-edged sword. You always gotta look out. You always gotta be aware. You always gotta be aware. There's always gonna be good and evil in humanity. And that's why I feel like AI is not the problem. Humanity is the problem and the solution. How many of us is gonna be the solution though? That's always the question. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel grow a whole lot. And if you hit the like button as well and leave a comment below what you think, your thoughts on this topic and other topics that you would like me to do a deep dive into, give my thoughts, share it with y'all. Oskino the Don, y'all. Peace and one love.